I'm Bruce with EcoFlight, and we're over here in Oroville looking at some of these fires, and we're going to learn a lot more about it. We got some experts and we got some press.
Hi everybody, I'm Scott Stevens. I'm a professor of fire science at Berkeley. Berry Creek was a community that was hit terribly hard here. So kind of this lower area we'll go through is really all the private land of Berry Creek and the area that got burned. Well, you know, because all those lightning fires started, I think they started here August 19th as well, and then they almost got them all out, but there were two fires they didn't get out. One was called the Bear Fire, the other one was Claremont, and they were in the middle fork of the Feather River. And then eventually they started to get more resources to deploy on them because they were all over the place trying to protect structures. But then they had that bad wind event that actually blew this fire all the way down here in one night, about 7 hours. About 1,000 houses burned here. And 15 people died. In fact, it's the highest mortality of any fire in California this year. Most of this is private, so this is where people live. You know, this is their houses down. We can see the ash beds of their houses down there, unfortunately.
A lot of these forests are evolved to burn every few years, and Native Americans would burn really frequently in areas around their village sites. Forest Service, we started suppressing all fires in the early 1900s, and then through the same period, we logged out all of the large fire-resistant trees. Those things, we have way more fuel on the landscape, and it's not as fire resilient as it would be naturally. Combined with climate change, we're getting longer fire seasons, hotter temperatures, less humidity during the most flammable periods. And it's just a recipe for the kind of fire we're looking at out the window here. And at the same time, a lot of us moved up to this area. So there's more people living in the wildland interface in these high fire danger areas than ever.
Very to the left, we were talking about this mosaic where we see kind of green and also dead. That's actually more restorative. And we see a lot of conifers over here, like at 10 o'clock or so. Parts that are alive, then parts that are dead. Kind of that mosaic. That's a good thing. If we can get more mosaic in our forest, not to say we want mosaic everywhere, but that's a lot more restorative. Or versus, you know, really large areas off to the right. Forests killed over tens of thousands of acres continuing. And this is the areas that we worry about because of just the inability of these places to regenerate after an event like this. There's not enough live trees down there to do it. It's like we're seeing a fuel break coming up. See off here to the right, to the 2 o'clock, a little bit down? That's got to be a shaded fuel break. Where the trees are alive. But that's a fuel break that was installed, and the fire behavior moderated inside the fuel break. But outside the fuel break, of course, took off again. If work is done to do some reduction of surface fuels and reduce kind of tree density, then you can really have remarkable results. So where green trees are surviving. But it's in a sea of this complete mortality, right? So you can imagine how severe the fire was in its vicinity. And it did kill some trees in there, there's no doubt. But it still shows maybe half the trees survived. And I'm not saying we need shaded fuel breaks everywhere, but I do think it just points to forest restoration. This mosaic off to the left there about 9 or 10 o'clock, that's gorgeous. That's a nice outcome for a fire. But this area right now we're going kind of into this mosaic. You know, look at the green trees. This all burned. You know, this all was in the wildfire area. But when you look out, and there's the patches of dead, other areas that have been thinned. Kind of that mosaic, we see a lot more heterogeneity, variability in the forest cover here. That's good. You know, nowadays we get so used to having forests wall to wall. Every ridge, every mountain, every place. But it used to be patches of regen, patches of shrubs, and that helped the forest keep alive when it burned. So what we're going through right now, this is really, really nice. Yeah. Very nice outcome for a fire. This will be in contrast when we turn around and start going back. What we'll see instead is we'll just literally look out here and we can't see any green trees. So we don't have the mosaic. Versus here we have this beautiful mosaic. That's Bucks Lake. It's got to be Bucks Lake. So that's the lake. There's Forest Service campgrounds around it also. They were very worried about that fire getting to Bucks Lake, and it never did. but it's an area of intense recreation. This part of the fire is really interesting because this is where the Quincy Library Group treatments went in about 1995 to 2000, called the Meadow Valley Project. And that was part of Senator Feinstein and Wally Herger's Feinstein's bill in the Senate. But that area here to our left, there are treatments down there that were used in the suppression of the fire to try to keep it away from. I would just say that that was part of the effort from long ago that actually was used strategically in this fire. So this is kind of, Forest Service ground, but you can see it burned in here, parts of it. You see the little patches of mortality. Other areas kind of underburned. Not a lot of fire off to the left. Most of that, they picked it up, but there is. But still, that's nothing but restoration. That is totally desirable. So there's the middle fork of the Feather River right there. Now it's certainly been impacted by this fire, especially a little lower. Out your side, then now we start to see, that's what worries us, When we see there's so much mortality over a vast area, continuous. That's the area, that's exactly the type of fire we're most worried about. Because it kills the conifers over such a vast area that the conifers cannot resprout. Even their seeds are going to be killed by a fire like that. This is the high severity patch where over 95% of the trees were killed. And when we see forests killed over that extent, that's exactly the worry we have. Because how do we get forests back? Getting a forest back like in that kind of country is going to be so difficult. It's going to revert mostly to shrubs, and shrubs and a few trees, oaks, which is good. But then the conifers will have a really hard time of coming back. There were 80 California spotted owl protected activity centers in this fire. So of course, spotted owl is a species of concern, been that way for decades. So we know there are 80 in here. We don't know how many burn with high severity like out the window. But that is a huge impact to the California spotted owl, having that many birds impacted directly by the fire.